Hello, today for review I've got a gadget that I was waiting for quite a long time. It's recently announced and recently released ultra portable player by FiiO, it's M5. It's a really small device for those who need some player to use on the go during some sport activities or something like that. But FiiO decided to do it in a bit unusual way, and they've implemented also a really good Bluetooth receiver inside of this player. Basically it's like two devices in one, because here used AK4377, if I remember right, as digital to analog converter. Really good, pretty new chip from Asahi Kisei. And also they're using the most recent Qualcomm Bluetooth chip to be used as a receiver, so it's working really nice in the receiving mode, and also it offers a lot of other good features in small case. And price announced to be $100, but currently it's available on the AliExpress for a bit more, $109 if I remember right. But I think it's not a big issue, and now let's have a closer look. Box is pretty small, white cardboard, minimal information, Qualcomm aptX, aptX HD, LDAC. It works in the receiver. As a transmitter it supports SBC and LDAC if I remember right. Some awards already received by this player, but it's not super interesting for us. And inside you will have player itself, and what is good, you will have this plastic half case with a clip, so if you need you can clip to your shirt or to shorts or somewhere else, and also you can remove this case and just use it separately. I will do it a bit later. Also, if I remember right, if you order it now from the AliExpress, you will have a silicone band to use it, to carry it on your wrist. Also in the accessories set you will have USB-C cable, manual, and a set of protective films. So as you can see, accessory set is basic, but all you need to start using this player you will have. I really suppose that DD Hi-Fi will release some case for, they released a really good case for M11 that I like, and I hope they will do it for M5. Well, probably the main and the most definitive feature of the new player is size. And as you can see, it's really small. Unfortunately, I don't have its closest rival Shenlink M0 for the comparisons. I was not impressed by M0's sound, and I decided not to buy it for myself, but I think there will be a lot of reviews all over the internet with size comparisons. But even first photos that posted by some users shows that size is about the same. Maybe M5 is a few millimeters smaller, but size is about the same. And for size comparison, here is FiiO's M6. Oh, sorry. As you can see, M6 is also a small DAP, really tiny and really feature packed for such a small size. But M5 is even much smaller, so level of modern miniaturization really surprised me. FiiO decided to add some hardware controls, so it's on-off button. It's also used for screen locking, and also by double tapping you can start playback or pause it, or you can swap the functions and use it single tap for play pause and double for screen locking. Volume controls, two microphones, as you can see by the icons. And actually what is good about it, when it's connected to your smartphone, for example, in a receiver mode, you can use these microphones to answer the calls. It's headphone output, it also works as a line out and coaxial out. And on the bottom side there is USB-C and microSD slot. So it supports all microSD cards that currently exist, and USB is pretty universal. You can use it as a digital to analog converter to output the digital signal to the external digital to analog converter, to charge and to access memory, of course. Speaking about the charge, its charge time is about 2 hours and 10 minutes or so. It's enough for more than 10 hours of wired playback and more than 12 hours in wireless mode, both to send and to receive. Let me push the button to turn it on, and actually it's really solidly built, really good build quality, aluminum frame, glass with 2.5D effect on the back and on the front. Really attractive look, but I think protective screens should be applied because it could be fragile. There are different color options, so you can select whatever you need. Let me turn the volume brightness to the brightness to the maximum, and it has a pretty small screen, 1.5 inch, but resolution is really nice. It's 240 dots by 240 dots, and also I really like that it's the borders of the screen are almost invisible. If you look at some angle, of course you can notice the borders, they are pretty wide, but when you look directly to the player, it looks almost borderless and it's pretty attractive. Its screen is pretty bright, so it remains visible even under the bright sun, and it responds really nicely to the touch. So in terms of design, in terms of build quality, really well built device. FiiO thought about a lot of usage scenarios, and that's why they've implemented some really great features. For example, it has built-in accelerometer, so you can use it as a step counter, but also you can use it to turn the screen on when you raise your wrist, when you carry it like huge and bulky smartwatch. But actually I think it's not as bulky as it could be, especially when you are running, for example, jogging or something like that. It will look pretty nice on your wrist. So when you raise it, it's turning on. So main menu consists of few parts, few items. They are big, they don't have animation, so no issues with lagging scroll as in Shenlink M0. So now playing basically brings you to now playing screen. I didn't select something, so as you can see, navigation buttons, play, pause, or play order, favorites, and add to the playlist. Or you can just tap and enjoy the big, or actually not so big, but pretty nice looking album cover. Really nice quality of the screen. Swipes allows you to move back. Category, it's traditional media library, all songs, artist, album, genre, favorites and playlists. Step counter, it's pretty basic, you turn it on. Small icon shows that it's turned on, then you start walking, and it counting your steps. Then you can pause it or remove, and also it stores your activity history. So pretty basic feature, but working. Recording, it's also pretty logical. You just play record, it records your voice memos. Settings, Bluetooth transmitter. You can turn the Bluetooth on. It took few minutes, then it searched for the devices and you can connect them. Play settings, it's play mode, resume mode, playback gap, it's gapless playback, maximum volume, fixed volume settings, channel balance, equalizer. There are only presets currently. I think they will add custom equalizer a bit later, maybe. And playthrough folder. really nice and useful feature. System settings, screen brightness, screen timeout, idle standby, sleep timer, USB mode, storage or digital to analog converter, recording quality, lock screen clock. You can select 1 out of 5 different lock screen clocks. Select output, headphone out, line out or SPDIF, SPDIF out, DSD, display direction. You can rotate the display if necessary, if you want to carry it in some unusual orientation. So let me turn it this way. Unfortunately, don't have the sensor to rotate screen automatically, but I think in such a small device it's okay. Double tap to turn the screen on, right hand to turn the screen on, power button it's single press to play, double press to lock, or vice versa. You can select what you need. Time settings, date settings, language, storage formatting, factory reset, system updates, Bluetooth firmware update, and information about the player, and media library update now and automatically update. So almost all familiar settings that we've got used. So Bluetooth receiver, you just turn it on. As you can see, there is even indicators present, and now it's working as a receiver. You can connect your smartphone to it, and then it will turn the screen off automatically. So now it's basically the Bluetooth receiver. You can even accept your calls using it. Yep, exiting this mode and browse folders. It's familiar folder browser, and now playing screen. So as you can see, despite the small screen size, controls are pretty intuitive, and I'd say that it's well organized. I forgot to show you a few additional features. So when these controls are on the screen, you can swipe, and here is additional controls: delete track, show track information, and equalizer, and actually you can fast forward, you can navigate the track as you need. And also when you tap this small home icon, you can always return to the main menu. So you tap this corner, you return back. And another feature, let me show it in the file browser. Let me open something. When you swipe from the right edge, here is the files editor, so you can delete it, add to favorites, so mass editing is present here. And of course you can swipe from left to remove everything, and also swipe from up, show you additional the most important controls. So playback controls, small information about currently playing track, and actually brightness control. So now I probably show you everything. And of course about the sound. Of course M5 is a limited device, and main limitation here is size and battery capacity, and this caused in limitations in the output power. Here used pretty good digital to analog converter, AK4377, but no powerful amplifier. It's just really basic, but it's capable of outputting about 43 milliwatts for 16 ohms load and about 25 milliwatts for the 32 ohms load. Not the huge numbers, but it's more than enough for the vast majority of in-ear monitors and for power efficient full-size scans. But of course, mainly this DAP is created to be used with in-ear monitors. So let's have some IEMs on the table, one of my most used pairs. And now let's proceed. So bass here has pretty good resolution. Attacks in decays are a bit slower than they should be, so it's having additional hint of warmth, but at the same time bass isn't bloated and isn't shadowing mid, so control is nice. Depth it's not the deepest one, but depth is okay, and control of all layers of bass, starting with deep one and to mid bass and to upper bass is pretty normal. So I usually, as you can see, really nice watch face. I need to give you an example, and it's Dire Straits Private Investigation. I like this track, and I really like its second half, that bass line that starts there, and M5 managed to represent it not perfectly, but really in really enjoyable way. Usually much more expensive dubs are required to play this track at 100% of its potential. Mids have also normal resolution, you know, it's not superb, not bad, something in between. You know, actually normal in terms of resolution applies to all frequencies here. It's lacking a bit of micro detalization, but at the same time it's pretty forgiving to the quality of recording, so don't expect some high level of micro detalization, but at the same time it's more playing on macro style. It's really emotional, it's highlighting emotions a little bit, and it's sounding pretty enjoyable for such a small device. And of course it's emotional, instruments are represented nicely. Imaginary stage is about average in width and a bit below average in depth, so also it's not a stage monster, but once again for a small device it's really nice performance. And will it wake up? No, it needs bigger movement. As an example here, it's Niechęć, Niespokojny, Relaks. It's nice avant-garde jazz track filled with different instruments, and it requires nice level of realism from the player to represent all the nuances of the instruments. I really like how this black cover looks here, and player also managed to play it on the pretty acceptable level, because also for such complicated tracks usually required something much better. And treble, it's also important part, and actually treble is one of strongest parts here. So no, of course, no rich layering, no super realistic attacks and decays, no tons of overtones, but at the same time it's a good, really good sense of realism, really natural treble with normal resolution, not accented, with nice extension, pretty good for this price range and for the small device. And as an example here, what I've got, I've got Hiromi Uehara, Now or Never. I really like this track. Actually, I like all Hiromi tracks, but here what is most important for us for this test, it's actually drum line. There are a lot of cymbals and a lot of percussion, and actually even paired with high-end in-ear monitors, M5 really managed to play treble pretty nicely. And what is even most important for me, in the receiver mode, when you turn it as a receiver mode, it's probably the best device I have tested currently in terms of hiding issues of the Bluetooth compression codecs. You know, because usually Bluetooth codecs are distorting the treble most of all, and it's noticeable. Even with LDAC, one of the most advanced codecs, you still can notice some harshness and some level of synthetic on the treble, and M5 managed to minimize that. Actually, not completely remove that issues, but to minimize it. So, to summarize probably everything about the sound, once again, don't expect some super high resolution, don't expect some big stage, but it's an honest sound, worth this price range, really good, really enjoyable, especially if you use it on the go, especially if you use it during some activities, you definitely won't be disappointed, especially if you select some proper in-ear monitors that will suit your taste. For such small devices, it's really important to get the in-ear monitors that will highlight stronger parts that you like and minimize something that you won't like. And before I proceed to comparison, additional few words. Actually, one thing that I like to mention that I really like the receiving quality and Bluetooth range with M5. At least in my tests, it shows really good results that can be compared with FiiO's BTR3 and sometimes even a bit better. Pretty stable and reliable connection, but of course usually Bluetooth quality depends on the amount of electromagnetic noise around you. And now let's move to the comparison, and most obvious competitor is Shanling M0. I can say that sonically M5 is noticeably better controlled low frequencies, a deeper imaginary stage, and more extended and better controlled treble. In all that aspects, difference isn't huge, but it's noticeable, and together it gives a noticeable step forward. But I didn't have M0 now, so it's comparison based on memory, so please take it with a grain of salt. Also, you need to consider feature difference, because in this price segment sonic difference isn't huge and feature difference can be crucial sometime. And best feature that distinguish M0 is that it's capable of working as a Bluetooth transport receiver, so you can connect it to some external digital to-analog converter and stream via Bluetooth to that digital to-analog converter. Currently M5 doesn't support that, and it can't output received signal to the USB or coaxial. I'm not sure will it be added later. FiiO told that the engineers investigating that. I don't think it's an often required feature, but sometimes it probably can be handy. From other hand, M5 has step counter, recorder, and it has built-in mix, so you can use it to answer the calls. I think it's worthy addition too. FiiO BTR3 is really close in terms of sound, but M5 is a bit better, especially on the treble. I think maybe it's because of more recent chip or just different chip. I'm not sure. Maybe AK4376 is newer than 77. Not sure, but just different chip. And other dubs like FiiO's M6 is definitely, a step forward in terms of sound, so it has tighter low frequencies, better control, more power, and it's noticeable plus in this aspect. And actually I must admit that it probably outdates FiiO M3K because it sounds a bit better, but in a smaller case and with better features probably. So to summarize everything, really good portable DAB with nice sound and lot of features for those who need some small device, and most probably it will be a player for some active usage, but maybe it's also for the non-audiophiles among us, and I really like it. Cute, small, nicely sounding, well built, and so on. Thank you for attention.